the one and only DNVR. Two goes out to Zac, Mace, RK, and the bar. Three for Mr. B in that old trophy case. Number four, we're still waiting for, well, bring on the chase. Out on the field at Mile High, Broncos win is our desire. Couple with a break, brew and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio A here at the DNVR Bar. And today the A stands for another one. Another ring for Von Miller. Congratulations, Von. Thought he might have had a little chance at Super Bowl MVP there for a second.
Did you sprinkle a little plus 450?
I did, yeah.
4,500.
I sprinkled a lot on a lot of things, none of which grew into those sprinkles didn't grow into. I had a tough day, but I accidentally won a bunch of money the night before, and then I just lost it all back.
Oh, okay, so it's fine.
Yeah, we're back where we started. But again, congrats to Vaughn. A great win for them, and honestly, an awesome game. Like, the fact that we didn't have to worry about Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady playing in the game and just got to enjoy good football. Like, I was pulling for the Bengals, but I wasn't going to be mad if they lost, you know. I will say I was a little bit mad about that defensive holding call. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I understand why you'd be mad at that. Yeah.
My whole thing is, like, you let them play the whole game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, in the biggest moment, you call a ticky-tack defensive holding. Like, I get it if he would, the one after on Eli Apple was like, yeah, he mugged him.
Yep.
But, like, the, ticky-tack thing that happens on every crossing route in front of a linebacker ever was really a bummer. Because, for me, all I want from the refs is consistency, right? It's kind of like an umpire with the strike zone. Like, if you know he's calling a wide strike zone, then you can pitch to it. And as a hitter, you can expect those to be called. So as a defender in a physical Super Bowl game where they have not called a defensive holding all night, you're expecting to be allowed to be physical at the top of the route.
So I understand why you're upset about it, and you had your money on the Bengals, so I really get why you're upset about it. I had all my money on Rams money line plus Cooper Kupp touchdown, and I already had the Kupp touchdown going into that one, so I thought it was a great call. You just can't do that in the 5-yard line.
I had a couple SGPs that were very close to being insanely profitable. The one was plus 37.50. All I needed was one more Joe Burrow touchdown.
Oh, man. and that would have hit the Joe Burrow boost, too, on DraftKings as well that they were dishing out. Did you get hurt by OBJ?
No.
Okay.
No, in terms of him going down?
Yep.
No, I didn't have any OBJ props.
He was on fire.
Yeah, I should have. If I would have just played everything that I liked as on its own, I would have done a lot better. Like, I had Cooper Kupp 2 touchdowns, but it was in a parlay.
Oh, no. What was that paying out?
I think, plus 350.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Man, that would have been good.
Yeah, would have.
He was unstoppable. Do you think he deserved Super Bowl MVP?
100%.
Yep.
Now,
some
people came at me because they thought my tweet about the process was saying that Cooper Kupp didn't deserve it. Aaron Donald did. I actually think Cooper Kupp deserved it more than Aaron Donald. But my whole thing was that entire game changed in the last 2 minutes. And we find out after the game that Super Bowl MVP votes have to be in before the 2-minute warning.
That makes zero sense. It's always 90% of the time it's going to be the most important 2 minutes of a game. And they say, we're just not going to worry about those 2 minutes.
And maybe because back in the day, you need some time to count out the votes. Everyone writes their thing on a napkin and hands it to the whoever's running PR that day for the Super Bowl. But now, I'm sure it's done online.
You do. You go to a website.
You go to a website.
Yep.
So what are we doing here that you can't have 10 minutes between the final whistle and when they announce it? Because they can literally look on their phone and hit refresh seconds before they hand the trophy off.
That's what I was going to say. I don't understand because it's not like you have to give it out right away. If it were to take 5 more minutes, heck, I don't know exactly how many minutes after the game they're supposed to be giving these awards away. So just have it be 5 minutes later. And Aaron Donald, boy, did he make a push for it. And Aaron Donald and Von Miller, how about going from 0 to 60 midway through the third quarter? I mean, I was thinking, oh my gosh, Aaron Donald typically hasn't shown up in huge moments in the past, and I thought, oh my gosh, he's doing it again. Where's Von Miller? This Bengals defensive line is playing great, or offensive line is playing great right now. And then from midway through the third quarter to midway through the fourth quarter, they got 6 sacks.
Yeah, one thing to know about elite pass rushers is they're almost calling a game like an offensive coordinator where you're building off of little things that you're laying down.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Vaughn, maybe Aaron Donald knows this on his own, but the two of them together have a conversation before the game where they say, don't give away your best move early.
Mm-hmm.
Set it up, set it up, set it up.
Right.
And I'm sure Vaughn was setting up that spin move that he was just unleashing in the second half that was unstoppable.
Yep.
And so that's what's like a really cool little inside football story of that is those guys are setting up moves for when they need them most. Now,
Yep.
if you start getting blown out in the first half or something, well, then you might have to pull it out on a third down to get a stop. But in a close game where you're hanging in there, you're getting stops, a guy like Von Miller is going to say, you're all of this is just a setup for what I'm going to do later when we really need it.
And when they really needed it on, I think it was second down, right? When Vaughn got him deep on like the 3-yard line, man, that was a huge sack. Because then it was like 3rd and 26, and you knew the Bengals weren't going to get it. And then the Rams get good field position again, and they needed their defense desperately because the Rams' offense went through a terrible dry
Couldn't
stretch.
run the ball.
That was bad. That was really, especially at the end of the game, when at the end you're thinking, okay, they need 1 yard,
Yes.
and then they don't get it, and then they don't get it, and you're like, no way, they're not gonna not get 1 yard, are they?
I liked the QB sneak thing, and I think that was like, you obviously take it if somehow you get in, but you call that play with the idea of we're not getting in here.
Yep.
And I probably would have called it again on second down. But obviously they called the right play. But I was having flashbacks of the Seahawks. And I was thinking, they're going to have to throw this ball. And if you throw it, someone gets a hand up, anything can happen.
Yep.
But Stafford to Cup, legitimately one of the best connections in NFL history this year.
Without a doubt. And it was their first year together, which is even crazier.
So crazy.
And they were both, Cooper Kupp was a fantastic receiver coming into this year. Matthew Stafford was a great quarterback coming into this year. But it's not like Tom Brady paired up with, I don't know, who's another best top wide receiver? DeAndre Hopkins. And you're like, okay, yeah, of course this is going to be great. No, these two guys made each other better. It's and I got to give credit, I heard this from Zach By. It's the first time, there's only 2 players that have ever had the Triple Crown, so most touchdowns, most receptions, most yards in a regular season, on top of being Super Bowl MVP. There's only 2 players who have ever done that, and 1 Offensive Player of the Year, Jerry Rice and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp did it all in 1 year. It took Jerry Rice his entire career.
Unbelievable.
Insane, and Jerry Rice is the GOAT.
And I was, pounding the drum for Cooper Kupp MVP during the season, and I feel like they were wrong. The voters got it wrong.
Yeah. And that just shows how. Is there anything you can do to win it if you're not a quarterback, or do you just have to have the quarterbacks be so bad, like 30 touchdowns leads the league?
That's never going to happen.
Right.
It's especially now that we have a whole new era of elite quarterbacks. Like the NFL, I mean, obviously you kind of count on this stuff happening, but like Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, all of these, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, all of these like all-time greats were all at the end of their rope.
Yeah.
And just like by a gift from God, they were like, "Oh, don't worry, NFL. We'll just send you a whole new crop of future Hall of Famers."
Yep.
And so now you have Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. Like, it's insane. It's just crazy how it all worked out like that.
Yeah, it's really true. And speaking
Josh Allen.
Speaking of Joe Burrow, he was, again, really, really good. Just wasn't able to get protection there in the second half. And I had a conversation with someone after the game, and I said, well, it's clear that Jamar Chase was the right pick for them this past year. Now they have to go invest everything in offensive line moving forward. And they said, no. Jamar Chase wasn't the right pick. And I just thought, whoa. Jamar Chase was Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was pretty much unstoppable. He was great last night. Made Jalen Ramsey look not even like an average quarterback, like a bad cornerback last night. Am I wrong here?
No.
Okay.
And I get it. You could make the case that, hey, if they had a better offensive lineman in there last night, they have a chance to win. But they never get anywhere near there, in my opinion, without Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase unlocked a new version of Joe Burrow. They became so much more explosive. He's really uncoverable by most people not named Pat Surtain. And
man, that just shows even more how good Pat Surtain is.
I know. And so, no, you got these two guys together. They're best friends. Did you hear the anecdote that Jamar Chase went and knocked on Joe Burrow's neighbor's door and asked if he could buy their house?
No way.
They're his next door,
amazing.
his next door neighbor.
Oh my gosh.
Buying a house on that street anyways.
Right.
Wow.
It's like a straight up buddy comedy.
That's amazing.
Like of those two guys.
So the person said no to Jamar?
I guess so.
Wow. What are you saying no?
If that's my house, yeah.
You got to think he's going to give you a little juice with it too.
Well, yeah, I'd like double the price.
Okay.
I'd be like, yeah, $4 million.
That's it. Do you think if he would have bought that, they would have put like a conjoining door, but more like a conjoining hallway where they connect the two houses?
Yeah, like a little skywalk.
Ah, yes.
I was thinking more one of those underground Tesla tunnels.
Yeah, I could do
They
that.
could have like a shared garage that goes underneath the house and all their cars.
Yep. I bet Joe's got some pretty cool cars, or he will at some point in his life.
So, you put those two guys together. They played together in college. It's not like
Yeah.
you were taking that big of a risk on their chemistry or anything like that.
Right.
You knew what you were getting. And now, yeah, you got to go fix the offensive line. But you rolled the dice. Remember, Jamar Chase not being able to catch the ball in preseason.
Oh, yes.
Because it didn't have white lines on it.
Yeah.
Like, that was a scary moment.
It was.
But the gamble paid off. I mean, 100%. You made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. As he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow's a second-year guy playing his first full season because he tore his ACL.
Yeah, I mean, it's Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford,
Yeah.
just younger.
Yep, exactly. And you love what both of them are doing.
Yep, 100%. Okay, speaking of impressive stats, this one made my night. I really didn't expect this. But following last night's performance, Von Miller, Denver Bronco great, is the all-time leader in sacks in the Super Bowl.
That's legendary. And that is the stuff of all-time greats. That is GOAT stuff right there. And you think, okay, well, he probably took, how many games? He was probably in the Super Bowl 3 or 4 times in order to do that, right? Because there's been a lot of great pass rushers. Now,
Think about
Von...
the Patriots.
Exactly. How did they not have someone?
Yeah.
All you have to do is rack up half a sack in each game, and boom, you're pretty much competing with Von there. Von has been on 3 teams that have made the Super Bowl. He did not play in one of those games. So we're only talking 2 games. And on top of that, Ryan, on top of those 4.5 sacks, which is the most in Super Bowl history, he's the only player, and now this is where it kind of gets in the weeds a little bit, he's the only player with multiple sacks in a Super Bowl on 2 different teams.
Wow. I mean, it's like Peyton.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Peyton was the
At
first
the
to do
time,
it.
he was the first to ever win a Super Bowl as a quarterback for 2 different teams. So we had this conversation last week, and I said, in my opinion, if the Rams win that game, Von gets his 2nd ring, he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. I didn't even talk about stats.
Yeah.
Now he's the all-time leader in Super Bowl sacks. He's got 2 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl MVP. The man is a bona fide, no questions asked, first-ballot Hall of Famer.
I want to believe, Ryan. I want to believe. He's 30 career sacks behind DeMarcus Ware. Yes, he has the Super Bowl. And hey, to me, he's absolutely a first ballot Hall of Famer. To me, DeMarcus Ware was also a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's just where I'm just trying to see, where are they coming from here? Where are they going to be thinking?
How about the brand, though, too?
Yeah.
DeMarcus Ware was a star,
Yeah.
not in the way that Von Miller was a superstar.
Yeah.
It's every NFL fan knows Von Miller. If they saw him in the streets, they would point him out. They would see him. He has brand recognition. He was the face of a franchise for multiple years. It's, to me, all of that stuff. The NFL really loves Von Miller too. He's, this wouldn't go towards his Hall of Fame resume, but he's also like the poster child for their, whatever you want to call it, drug program, right?
Right.
In terms of, he got busted, got in trouble, went through the program, never got in trouble with it again. Like, became a Super Bowl MVP and all that stuff in the face of a franchise. So, like, he has all this stuff going for him. But to me, the fact that he is a Super Bowl MVP and the all-time leader in Super Bowl sacks is just like, game over.
I hope so. I hope. Now, I think what will guarantee him is if he gets close to Ware in sacks and he gets to that 140 mark, puts him in the top 10, and then it would just be absolutely criminal if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. But he absolutely should be. And Ryan, what we saw from him down the stretch, it would be 8 games and he had 9 sacks in the final 8 games of the season, including playoffs. We're talking about a guy that could absolutely come out next year and have 15 sacks. But if he has 3 more seasons where he plays and gets 10 sacks a season, which he absolutely should, if he's in the right situation, because we saw how that situation could hold him back, then he absolutely should be that. And man, we talk about just another historic playoff run for Von. What is that? I think 4 sacks in the playoffs this year. He had 5.5 when he was with the Broncos. This is a guy that when he gets in the playoffs, he finds another dimension.
It's so cool. That's like, I don't know, one of my favorite things about sports is these guys who are so incredible, and as the stakes get higher, they somehow get better. You know, Nikola Jokic is a perfect example of that. It's like, as soon as the playoffs, it's like, oh, it's playoff Joke. You know, and like that's just a Denver example, but there's all sorts of guys who seemingly have another gear, and of course there's always going to be the fans who are saying, like, if they have that gear, why don't we see it every play? And it's like, I don't think it's possible. Right. And the adrenaline that comes along with playing in a Super Bowl or playing in a playoff game, but also just if you played that hard every play starting week 1, you probably wear out by the end of it. So there's a part of like making sure your body is in a position to be able to attack the playoffs in that way. It's all just what goes into what makes a legend.
Yep.
And Von Miller, absolutely a legend. In my opinion, there's a 99% chance that he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I love it. So then retire number 58 as he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And speaking of legendary, Ryan, that trade was legendary. Now that we can look back on it, in the moment, we said, man, this is a great trade for the Broncos. It's a great trade for the Rams. It's a great trade for Von Miller. It's even better than that. Now, when you take a step back, now the Broncos draft picks got hurt just a little bit by the Rams winning it all, but still, a 2nd and a 3rd round pick, we were saying that that's more value than we thought they were going to get, so the fact that it's at the end of both of those rounds, totally fine. The Rams get their Super Bowl. They sold out to do everything they could to win the Super Bowl, and then Von gets another ring. And on top of that, Von now gets to hit the open market, and a report came out yesterday that Von is going to absolutely explore free agency, and this will be the first time that he's ever done it.
And I have a feeling about where he might end up in free agency. But first, I have a feeling that you should come hang out with us here at the DNVR Bar. Last night, the Super Bowl party here was epic. Packed wall to wall. Like, you know, bucket. We were making a tower of buckets on our table.
I saw that.
Unfortunately, they needed the buckets because more people were ordering buckets.
Yeah.
So, but I think we would have gotten to 5 or 6 buckets tall.
Impressive.
Would have probably blocked my view of the TV, which would have been a problem too. But it was awesome down here, and it's always awesome down here at the DNVR. There was also like a bunch of like true Bengals fans, which was kind of cool. You know, I don't want any really Rams fans. I don't even know if they exist.
No. And again, I was just rooting for Von.
Yeah, I was just rooting for Cincinnati. Anyways, come down here, hang out. We got a Yoke night tonight, Jokic and the Nugs on the court. So come hang out for that. Wednesday night should be a great night. You've got Avs Golden Knights and Nuggets Warriors both on at 8 p.m. So, you know, tell your employer now that you have a doctor's appointment on early Thursday morning and come hang out at the bar. Have a good time. But there's always something good going on down here. Come down, have some of our great food, and, of course, some of our great Breck beers.
And there's always something good going down with our friends Michael and Virginia Chevalier over at Chevalier Mortgage. They are here to help you, whether you're buying a home and need a mortgage or whether you want to refinance. They are here to take the stress out of the brutal process that it is. And they look at more than just the interest rate, which is so important. Any company can offer an interest rate, but they look at your entire financial picture to take the stress out and and help you in every single way when it comes to your financial situation. So check him out over at DNVRmortgage.com. And when you do, a cool little perk for DNVR listeners, you'll enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat of your choice when you do. And when you go to DNVRmortgage.com, you get a free consultation. So go to DNVRmortgage.com to check out all of your options, or call them directly at 303-257-6578. Visit them at DNVRmortgage.com. Michael Chevalier, NMLS 1931006. Virginia Chevalier, NMLS 1910631.
So I mentioned the buckets that we were having at the Super Bowl party yesterday, and of course they were Breck buckets. It was a big Good Company day for me. As you know, Zach, I'm a big fan of crushability. I think it's the most important rating of any beverage. And the Good Company hard seltzers, extremely crushable. I think I had double digits yesterday. And, feeling fine today. Was fine, cruising through the day, which is important. You want to be able, when you're going to be, I was here from noon to 8 p.m. Like, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a work day.
Yeah, you want to have a drink in your hand. Yeah. And they're perfectly crushable, delicious. I actually like to throw them on ice with a little lime. Adds a little extra dimension in there. So check out the Good Company hard seltzers and all the other great beers and beverages they have over at Breckenridge Brewery.
And by the way, the buckets, pretty sweet Breckenridge buckets too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. We got those for the tailgate originally, and now we've got like a whole stack of them.
Yep, and you stacked them all last night.
We kept stacking with the empties in them to, give it a little extra height.
Yep.
All right. So you mentioned Vaughn wanting to hit free agency and wanting to test free agency, and I have an opinion on this, Zach. I think that winning the Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams yesterday makes it more likely that Von Miller comes back to Denver, rejoins the Broncos. To me, it's obvious. It's a perfect scenario for him. He got to go out there. He got to go to L.A., got to, do the whole L.A. thing for half a year.
He got to work in L.A.
Yes, he went out for a little work business trip in L.A., got to play with his boy Odell, all that stuff. He basically checked off all the remaining boxes on his wish list. And of course, at the end, he gets the Super Bowl, which is the last thing that I think would have really kept him up at night if he never left Denver, is thinking, man, I just want to get to that mountaintop one more time. And I don't know if you saw his Instagram post. It was like comparing the Lombardi Trophy to like a girl. It's like, I'll come back for you and all this stuff.
When I was reading, I thought it was you.
Yeah, it was a good relationship analogy from Vaughn. And so anyways, I just think he says like, okay, well, there's nothing else I need to accomplish here in L.A., so let me just go back home to Denver and, ride into the sunset.
And boy, we talked about it last week, just how much it makes sense. And everything he said points to that being the case. Except for one thing, Ryan. One thing that Vaughn said that makes me just stop from jumping off the cliff and saying he's coming back here is he talked about how that winning that first Super Bowl, and this was before yesterday, this was last week. He talked about how winning that first Super Bowl with the Broncos was addictive, and it had him craving more, and he just wanted more Super Bowls and more Super Bowls. And it did seem like he kind of eased off of that because the Broncos were nowhere close of that. But if he gets that same addictive taste in his mouth after this one, that's when I can see him saying, okay, I don't want to really take a discount, but I'm going to explore my options and go to the team that has the best chance of winning this year.
Wouldn't that just be the Rams?
You would think so, unless... Is Aaron Donald going to retire?
I never heard a thing about that until the final whistle.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, oh, this might be his last game. And I'm like, they're talking about Andrew Whitworth. That's cool. Like, I get it. And they just kept saying Aaron Donald. I'm like, what? The dude's 30 years old, an absolute superstar, the best to ever play the game at his position. And he's going to walk away after one ring?
Why not?
Oh, man. Talk about going out on top. I mean, that's the Tom Brady thing.
You go out on top. You're 30 years old, man. You're a multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaire. You've accomplished all you can, other than, I guess, like winning MVP, which is probably never going to happen.
Right.
To me, I would commend him if that was the decision he would make.
What's his legacy right now? Is he a first-ballot Hall of Famer?
Probably, yeah.
I think so, too.
3-time Defensive Player of the Year, that pretty much seals it.
So then what is his legacy? What's he playing for after this?
I don't know.
How
More
much-
Super Bowls?
And how much does that actually help a defensive tackle's legacy?
Well, I don't think he needs to do anything in terms of like Hall of Fame resume, anything like that. So it's just, do you love football enough to want to keep playing?
Wow.
Or and that might be oversimplifying. It's, do you love football enough that you want to do that more than any other thing?
Right.
Because of course he loves football, but it's like, does he think like, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that, I'd love to, I don't know if he has a family, I'd love to start a family.
Yeah.
So like,
That's fair.
that sort of stuff I think can be really powerful.
Yep.
And like I said, what else was he gonna do?
I mean, now that
Win
we're
more Super Bowls?
Now that we're walking through this, it makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
for him to walk away. So if he leaves, though, I think
Yeah.
that really
Changes
hurts
everything.
the Von Miller specifically staying with the Rams. I think the Rams can still be contending for a Super Bowl.
From a cap perspective, though, it helps them try to retain him.
That's really true. Would open it, and I just don't think Von's going to be taking a pay cut for any team he goes to, so that's going to be big. But then also maybe you just have the entire Rams retiring. You have Andrew Whitworth retiring. Sean McVay, it really doesn't seem like he's going to retire after this year, but boy, seems like he's closer to retiring than I ever thought. His comments this weekend pretty crazy. But if
What did he say?
he just talked about wanting to have that family and wanting to be able
telling
to
you,
spend a lot of time with
I'm
them.
telling you, the NFL is watching way too much NBA. There has to be drama surrounding everything
Yeah,
now.
it's true.
Which is, it's great for us. It gives us stuff to talk about, which I'm sure is the reason why all this is happening. But I swear, every single player, every single star, every single high-profile person in the NFL has to have some sort of storyline surrounding them at all times now.
You're right. And you know who doesn't really have one? Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
Are people really going to be talking about him a lot this offseason? I mean, they're going to say he did a really good job,
Yep.
but people are going to be talking about McVay and if he's going into TV, if he's going to have a family, if he's going to be back, all of that, way more. It's that brand, Ryan.
McVay's 36.
I know, he's the youngest coach in the NFL and he's talking retirement.
He's younger than several active players.
Yes, absolutely. He's younger than Andrew Whitworth, who
Yeah.
it looks like he's going to retire. But let's say...
By the way, his Man of the Year speech was awesome.
Oh, it was incredible.
Yep.
It was incredible.
It made me just be like, yep, he deserved it.
Yep, 100%. I was bummed for Justin, and then he got it, and I was like, yep, this is good. This is good.
Right decision.
So we talk about all of these guys on the Rams specifically potentially retiring. You talk about Aaron Donald's legacy and how he doesn't need to do any more. He's already set. And right before that, you said Von Miller's legacy is set. 99.9% that he should be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, that he will, one of those. Why doesn't Von retire? He's older than Aaron Donald. He not only has one Super Bowl ring, he has two. Go out on top at the peak of his game with 9 sacks in the final 7 games. Why doesn't he just step away?
Look, I can't speak to Aaron Donald because I don't know Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
But I know Von Miller. He's obsessed with the game of football, not just from a playing on Sundays standpoint, but from a being in the locker room with the guys standpoint. Like, that is what makes him happy. It's what gets him going. And I think it's one of the things that was so tough on him the last few years in Denver is the locker room wasn't, in our last experiences in the locker room, which is a long time ago now, 2019, the locker room wasn't a fun place to be.
Was not.
Especially post 0-4 start,
Yeah.
pretty much can never get the vibes back in the locker room.
Yep.
So I think that's something that really weighed heavy on him, and I'm sure it's something that really reignited him when he went back to LA. And you're doing post playoff win celebrations in the locker room, and now another Super Bowl party. I just think that's what makes Von Miller happy, is being around the guys. Now he also has a newborn son within the last year that I'm sure he wants to spend time with, but he's still at the age now where you're not like hanging out with him, like he needs to grow up a little bit. I think Von's got 2-3 more years left.
And that's kind of what he talked about to us a couple of years ago, was how he wanted to play, 4 or 5 more years or 6 more years to have his son Valor be able to see him play. But when you talk about that, though, and you talk about him being in a fun, winning environment finally, doesn't that kind of also make you think, well, that with the addictive part of winning, he's going to go somewhere else?
The eternal optimist. He can very easily be convinced that everything's about to change in Denver. Now, it makes it a hell of a lot easier if Aaron Rodgers wants to come, and obviously the reporting over the weekend, which we'll probably talk about more sometime this week, doesn't make it exciting from that standpoint. But at the same time, I'm just like, there's so much time. This is just one bump in the roller coaster, and we're currently on the downswing. Soon enough, we'll have an upswing.
It's true.
So I'm waiting for the next corner to come around. But whether it's him or Russell Wilson or someone else, by the way, Russell Wilson sitting with Roger Goodell at the Super Bowl, just come on, man.
I mean, he's doing it back-to-back years. Is he just trying to be groomed to be the next commissioner? He likes the sound of a $40-50 million paycheck each year?
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad thought.
Not.
He's so lame.
Oh, he's so cheesy.
He's so lame. And, I would love him as the quarterback of the Denver Broncos.
Right. But you
damn,
see
man.
all the famous people there. You see LeBron. He's got his suite. He's hooping and hollering. He's chatting it up with fans. You see all these other guys there. And then you see Russ sitting down. Yeah,
very calm conversation with him.
He's got just a very normal outfit on. I think just a nice bomber next to Goodell.
It's so lame, dude. But
What were they drinking, you think? Sparkling water?
Sprite.
Yeah.
Shirley Temples.
Yep. Well, I could definitely see Russ having some maraschino cherries in his drink.
Yeah, that's I don't know why that just bothers me so much. I'm like, move over and let Kirk Cousins sit there.
Oh my gosh, the only bigger cheese ball is Kirk.
100%. Anyways, so yeah, I think it makes it more likely for Vaughn to come back if you have that quarterback. But I still think he could be sold on Nathaniel Hackett and this young coaching staff. This is the next big thing in Denver. Come along for the ride. And he's like, okay.
I don't think he's going back to L.A. And the reason for that is, why wouldn't he have signed a deal? There were reports that the Rams wanted to sign a deal a couple of months ago, and those just fizzled away. There was never a bad thing that happened. Those just didn't come to fruition. He wants to test free agency. He's been in L.A. the past 3 months. He knew that he was on a very good team. Now he knows he's on a Super Bowl team. If he wanted to stay there, why wouldn't he just got a deal done?
I don't know. The thing that I have such a hard time seeing is him going another place other than Denver or Los Angeles. I guess the Cowboys would be the other one where it's like, oh, this is one more thing that I can do, right? Go play for my hometown team.
Yeah, that would be the one more thing.
So I could see that. But other than that, where he doesn't have a base set up, because even when he didn't choose this, but even when he lived in Denver, he still was in LA a lot. So he's very familiar with it, all that sort of stuff. That makes it easy for me to imagine him saying, would like to lay down some roots here in LA, buy a house, whatever. But by not signing that deal, it just makes me think he truly did always want to come back to Denver, and the Broncos are going to have to, pony up the money, no pun intended, to get him. But I think if they go and make a compelling offer, it's like the most amazing deal ever for the Broncos.
It really is.
They basically loaned him like a soccer team out to the Los Angeles Rams for half a season. Vaughn gets his ring and comes right back at a lower rate, than what they were paying him before. They saved a little bit of money on the second half of this season. It's like a 10 out of 10 perfect situation. And I know there's people out there saying how could you even possibly make the case that the Broncos won this trade? What I think, yes. What I think, and I saw Mace was getting into it, and what I think is it's just possible for both teams to win.
Yeah,
that's what you should. The goal should be of any trade. Both teams won the trade.
Yep, absolutely.
It's rare. Congratulations, you guys executed it perfectly.
And the Broncos really win the trade if he comes back.
And if they hit on those draft picks, that's obviously. If you miss on the draft picks, well, then eventually you could make the case that you lost the trade. Even then, I would still be saying the Broncos traded someone when they were out of the playoffs. He was on an expiring deal. They weren't quite out, but you know what I'm saying. They weren't good enough this year to do anything special. And they, rolled the dice on getting a second and third round pick, which is great value for a older player. And then again, if you add, and then he came right back, and then you hit on those picks, George Payton, build the statue.
Seriously. And what would you be willing to pay Vaughn without Aaron Rodgers here? Without a superstar quarterback here. So it's not the final piece to the puzzle. He's just, you're bringing in another Super Bowl champ.
I don't know, because if you don't get one of those quarterbacks, I just want to tank. But I don't know. I also think it'd be sweet to bring in Von Miller and draft Malik Willis. And Vaughn comes in, he's hyping up Malik Willis.
Oh my God, I can't even
takes
imagine.
Takes him under his wing. They're best friends all of a sudden. That excites me. But the price for Vaughn is probably $20 million a year.
Yep.
And so that's what you pay him regardless.
You doing it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just as hesitant, and I'm going to say no. And the reason is because I can't get out of my head what Von Miller was without a competent offense.
I blame Vic Fangio a lot for that.
And that's fair. I mean, Von was really, really good, great. Vic Fangio got here, and he dropped off a cliff.
And you know who saw firsthand what made Von Miller successful?
Who?
His future defensive coordinator if he comes to the Broncos, Ejiro Evero. So, again, there is something to be said for Aaron Donald. It's impossible to replicate that. So maybe Vaughn isn't quite as productive next to anyone as he was next to Aaron Donald. For me, it's just you need that pass rusher. George Payton said that. We need a mismatched pass rusher. There's no one you're getting better than Von Miller as a mismatched pass rusher. Even if you use the number 9 overall pick, the chances of them being as good as Vaughn is right now is pretty low.
Yep. And right now, I don't think the Broncos should do it. If the quarterback position improves significantly, and it's probably even a tier 2 guy, a Jimmy G, a Kirk Cousins, that's enough to bring Vaughn back in my mind.
Fair enough. Vaughn's, praising Kirk Cousins. What a great leader he is.
Gosh. Oh, my goodness.
I can just hear it.
Oh, I just love all the stuff he says in the locker room. Really makes me giggle.
If it's Jimmy G, he's just talking about how good looking he is. He's a rock star. He's
all he does is win.
Yeah. He's a winner, I've been around winners like Tim Tebow.
Right.
Yeah, I mean...
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Vaughn did love Tim.
Yeah, that's exactly what Vaughn loves everyone.
Yep.
Vaughn loved Trev, and I don't think Vaughn loved Paxton.
I don't think so. I think you saw right through
Vaughn
that
loved
one.
Brock. Vaughn, he loved Case Keenum.
Yep,
or at least he said he did.
Loved Joe.
The one that I actually truly believe he really did love is Tim Tebow.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
He talks about him as like the best leader he's been around.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
He puts him right in there with Peyton. Yep.
Yeah. It's like they're always the end of each other's sentence. He's like, I've been with Peyton Manning, Tim Tebow.
Yep. So what team is Vaughn on next year?
The Broncos.
Man, I'm 49% there. I can't get over the hump. I'm gonna say other, and you threw out the Cowboys.
Okay.
I think that's.
They play 4-3.
Vaughn's played in that.
Yeah, that's where he came into the league in that. Man, that's a tough one though. I think he's so close to coming back.
I think he is too, and I really just think it comes down. I actually think the biggest chance of Von Miller not being a Bronco is George Payton not wanting Von Miller,
not wanting to pay $20 million for a pass rusher when the team is more in a rebuild mode.
And he's on the back end of his career, really in the home stretch, I would say.
Yep, exactly.
But you just better hope that doesn't come out publicly because people lose their minds.
How about this? You sign Von Miller, you realize midway through the season that it's a rebuild, then you trade him for a second and a third to the Cowboys, to the Packers, to someone like that.
And then do it all again.
That would be incredible.
Just the ultimate rental player.
Then in 2023, after he re-signs with the Broncos again, the Broncos are trying to trade him midway through the season, and team's like, no, we're not taking him because we only know we're going to have him for 8 games, and he's going to go right back to you guys.
Or what if Vaughn's just like, I only want 1-year deals from now on, so like if the team sucks, I can just get traded mid-season to a better team.
Smart. Yeah.
Well, one thing I know Von Miller would bring is energy, and one thing that could bring you energy is Strava Craft Coffee. This stuff is CBD infused, and it can help you with a lot of stuff. If you have, chronic migraines or headaches or back pain or anything like that, getting that infusion of CBD every single day in your morning cup of coffee can really be a game changer for you. So check out Strava Craft Coffee. Use the code DNVR25 when you sign up, and when you get your order, and you'll have 25% off your first order. Then you can sign up for a subscription. They'll send it to your house every 2, 4, 6, or 8 weeks, which is awesome too. That way you don't have to worry like, oh shoot, am I almost out of coffee? You just know it's coming. Every couple weeks you're gonna have that fresh batch of Strava Craft coffee, and I think you guys are gonna love this stuff.
You're gonna love it, and something else you're gonna love. Do you like free money?
I do. I love free money.
DraftKings has been handing out free money for so long. Ryan, last week, that's all they did was hand out free money. They gave so many boosts for the Super Bowl week. If you got in on all 5 of the DraftKings Sportsbook boosts that they gave out, you went 3 for 5. You came out profitable with that. They're handing out free money this week for the NBA, too. If you bet $1 on any NBA game this week and you pick the correct winner, they'll give you $150 in your account. That is a fantastic way to start your account.
150 to 1 odds.
Oh, that's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. You won't find that anywhere else. And of course, the same game parlays, we've talked about those a lot with football. You can get in on them with the NBA as well, and they're an official sports betting partner of the NBA as well. So make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up in order to get this 150 to 1 odds deal where you get $150 by just betting $1 on any team to win this week. That's DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Speaking of 100 plus to 1 odds, I had 100 to 1 odds on Evan McPherson, Super Bowl MVP. Let me just ask you this. Let's say he hits like a 64-yarder to send that thing to overtime, and then has another 50-plus yarder to win in overtime. Would that have been enough?
You hit. You cash.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Because I think that's exactly what you need. You need that record breaker in order to hit a clutch moment of the game and then the game winner.
Didn't the record go up? Isn't it now?
I think
67?
It is 64.
Okay.
I think or was it 66? It was Justin Tucker.
Yeah, I think it was 67.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then it hit off the crossbar and then went in.
I just think if he would have gotten like a ridiculously long field goal for the tie that no one expected him to make, now he's in there.
Yeah.
And then he hits another one after like a 3 and out or something.
Yeah.
I think he would have had a chance.
I loved his odds, and I really did like Vaughn's odds. Plus 4,500.
I was thinking during that last drive, if Vaughn gets the game clincher, he's going to win it. But the votes were already in.
Which I didn't know.
The votes were in before Cooper Kupp even scored that touchdown.
Wow. So how do you bet on Super Bowl MVP in the future? Or is that just one that you have to stay away from now? Or do you just go quarterback or bust?
I don't know. I was trying to like boost that up by tweeting about it, hoping that it kind of gains some traction. So the NFL has to change it.
Yeah, because now you're not betting on something with an even playing field. You're betting on 58 minutes of a game.
Who's going to be the best player in 58 minutes? Crazy.
So, wow. So then,
so that whole McPherson conversation we just had is moot. It wouldn't have mattered.
You're right. Yep, wouldn't have mattered.
Maybe if it went to overtime, they could have been like, hey, let's reopen
for the final 2 minutes of OT.
Yeah.
My guess is the NFL wouldn't do that.
Which is so dumb.
Yeah.
We got to figure this out, guys. We got to work on this. All right. I think we got some super chats here, so let's start with those as we get into the comments. First one's from Jelly. Great Super Bowl. But what's all this Kyler immature talk? I mean, I can't act surprised, even as like one of the biggest Kyler Murray, fans, especially coming out in the draft. It was clear he needed to grow up a little bit, and he needed to be willing, for lack of a better term, to like be a little less cool. Now, you don't have to go full Russell Wilson, but there is like a little bit of a corniness to being a quarterback. You have to be willing to, give like little speeches and have little like motivational terms,
Peyton has corny.
For sure, but even like Teddy Bridgewater,
right,
who, we saw a lot of clips during that early start for the Broncos, the 3-0 start of him, like, I'm trying to remember. He had like a really great phrase that he said that I was like, oh man, that's fire. You got to have those stuff like that. And if
Gambling on 3 was what his like go-to was.
Yeah, but he had a whole like it was like a little like soliloquy about pain and toughness and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, you gotta do that if you're a quarterback. It feels like Kyler's a little bit too much like, come on guys, like that's not me.
One of the things that I can absolutely not see Kyler Murray doing right now is one of the things Teddy Bridgewater did, and it was the cheesiest, corniest thing, jumping up and down in the huddle. when he would have the offensive huddle jump up and down during training camp and in the huddles on the field just to get them going.
Yep.
And it's just a little something different that they all do together. It's cheesy as hell. But it was something Garrett Bowles told us how much he liked it, and players just thought it was just a little something that he added. Kyler is too cool to be jumping up and down in a huddle.
And I just think he thinks that, I feel like he thinks, I'll do my job, you guys do your job.
Right.
But it's as the quarterback, it's just not how it works.
No.
Your job goes beyond that. You got to get everyone fired up. You got to get everyone on the same page. You got to be, perusing the sidelines up and down, talking about, what you're going to do on the next play, all that stuff.
I want to be on the podcast.
We don't have a seat.
Spano wants in.
Cam was a cool leader. Cam was cool,
Right.
Cam.
Yeah.
Right.
He was a great leader. I remember this OT
And he was
game
cool.
Because the Bengals, no one can hear me, so I better not.
He can probably hear you.
But
With your voice, we got you.
He took the receiver to the side. He's like, this is what we need. Third down's coming to you, and
Right.
and it's in a cool Cam Newton way.
Right.
Yep. He was a great leader, and he was really cool too.
Right.
You
Yeah.
should still be cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to have. To me, unfortunately, I think a lot of it is you're born with it or you aren't.
Right.
And Kyler wasn't born with it. And he has to be willing, though, to change. But, going back to this, self-centered, immature, unfortunately, that's, what it just looks like. And so you hope that the people inside the building would be saying, no, he just has this, kind of tough outer shell. Inside the building, inside the locker room, he's a lot different. He connects with the guys. He's just not a media guy. He's not a cameras guy. But to hear that coming from inside the building is very concerning. And it feels like there's stones being thrown now from both sides.
Yep.
Kyler saying I was set up for failure in the playoffs and it was embarrassing. They're saying Kyler's self-centered and immature and he wants to blame everyone but himself. And it's where's this going?
It's really bad. It's really concerning. This is something that you can't have with your all-star quarterback, your number one overall pick, your future, when it is very clear it's coming from the Cardinals and it's coming from Kyler Murray, and they're just going back and forth with each other.
Here's the craziest part. Cliff and Kyler have the same agent, so it's not them.
Right.
It's the GM or the owner or whatever going back and forth. And I mean, you have to imagine Cliff and Kyler are still on the same page. But it's Cliff is technically on the side of the team more than, just in terms of where he stands, his position.
Chris Mortensen also tweeted after that. He said, "Where's it going? Where is it headed? The Cardinals expect things to calm down, and Murray is their quarterback. Select veterans hope to reach Murray on how he handles adversity better. Coach Cliff Kingsbury also is self-scouting where he can provide better alternatives for the quarterback." And to me, Ryan, this is like you're in a fight with someone, and you both are just on your sides, but you're telling that other person, "I'm right, and also you better accept this. You better calm down. This is going to be okay." It's not really the way that things get okay.
It's weird because the previous one was clearly a report from the Cardinals, and then the next one said they expect things to calm down.
Yep, as
It's
they're
they just
screaming
threw
at
a
him publicly.
Molotov
Yep.
cocktail in there
Yep.
and said, this will calm down soon.
Yep.
Fire department will be here eventually.
The only thing that would, I think, really ease things is a massive contract. $45 million a year for Kyler Murray. That'll probably get him to calm down. But I don't think the Cardinals want to give him a $45 million contract when they don't believe, at least right now, he's the leader of this franchise. Yeah. So
Joe Burrow, by the way, another cool leader.
Yep. Very cool guy.
Yep.
What'd you think of the suit?
I thought it was swaggy.
I thought he should have gone full orange.
On the best Super Bowl suit, in my opinion, ever was Von Miller's Super Bowl 50.
Yep.
It was black with the gold accents in there.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yep. And didn't he have on the inside some pictures and stuff too?
Yeah. It's elite.
Yep.
But I like Joe going for it. He can do whatever he wants.
He can. He's Joe Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Everything he does instantly becomes cool.
Yep.
Anyways, I don't know how it ends with Kyler, but it reminds me a lot of Philly and Carson Wentz. And that obviously didn't end in harmony.
I think this is something that's not going to end anytime soon.
Yeah.
It could even be like you said, Carson Wentz. It could end up being like an Aaron Rodgers situation where maybe they get it settled down this year and then it all boils back up next year.
This is gonna be a thing that happens in the offseason every single year with several quarterbacks.
Yep, exactly. We saw it with Deshaun Watson last year until his things went sideways, and it's just something that it's a players' league now. They run it.
Yep, good. What's next? Just a super chat from Chance, who follows up with, would you send some picks and Chubb to the Browns for Garrett to help entice? I mean,
absolutely.
You would do anything you could to get Myles Garrett.
You had Myles Garrett and Von Miller.
But it's not just some picks and Chubb. We have to be very, very clear here. At least 2 firsts.
Yeah, 2 firsts and this year's second.
So would you do that? I actually would have to say no. You can't trade first-round picks when you don't have a quarterback.
Could you imagine doing that, not getting the quarterback position figured out next year, and then you have a top 5 pick next year, and you miss out on Bryce Young because you got pass rusher?
It would be a nightmare.
It would be.
But I don't even think you need to you wouldn't do that to entice Vaughn to come back. You would just do that to get a top 3 pass rusher in the NFL.
And then pair him with Vaughn? Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think Vaughn needs convincing to come here.
No, I don't.
You just have to be willing to pay him.
But I actually think that would hurt. So now, just going back to like the original comment, would you do that to entice Vaughn to come here? I just think like you're saying we're never fixing this quarterback issue.
That is what you're saying. Yikes. And then at that point, you might as well keep Vic Fangio around. If you're going all in on defense.
100%, but that doesn't work.
Right. It does not. And I think the way George Payton's building this staff now, he understands that.
Yeah, you're not even invited to the party until you have an elite quarterback.
Nope, not at all.
All right, next one from Jelly. Chubb, Fant, 2 firsts and a 3rd for Russ or Aaron, please. Yeah, sure.
Yep, done. Deal's done. I love it.
All right, finally, new coaches coming in. Let's talk about it. We will talk about it tomorrow.
Yep.
We have a whole show planned talking about this new coaching staff. It's interesting.
It is interesting. It's the complete opposite. It's a 180 from this old coaching staff.
Yeah, I still have to process my full opinion about it before we go into a full first segment about it tomorrow. I'm actually, I guess, between a couple different feelings on this.
Good. I like it.
So I'm excited to hash that out.
We'll have a little therapy session tomorrow. All right, should we jump into the comment section? First one's from Melbourne Bronco. Says, hi, guys. Just explaining my turning around comment with Drew Lock. Basically means getting his game to an average level. Better decisions, less throwing errors, etc. More like Teddy with a stronger arm. Anyways, keep up the great work. Rams 34, Bengals 17. Ryan, I'm just at the point where even if Drew can become an average quarterback, you're still so far off.
Yeah.
And you saw that with Jared Goff, although he wasn't even an average quarterback. But when Sean McVay got him to play and turned him around, as you would point to, Melbourne Bronco, still wasn't enough, and they dumped him in order to get their next guy. So that's where the Broncos need to look, is getting that next guy that you can build an entire team around for a decade.
When they called Philly special on 3rd and 5, I really thought McVay was choking away another Super Bowl. I was like, he's going to take the brunt of this one if they can't get this offense going in this game.
Just by doing too much?
I mean, it's 3rd and 5. Like, you paid all that money for Matthew Stafford. You have the best receiver in the NFL.
So you get the best receiver in the NFL to throw it to the best quarterback.
You're doing it all backwards. Like, I just thought you really overthought that one.
The play was there.
And Cooper Kupp rushed the throw. Yeah. There was no reason he needed to rush that.
Yeah.
He could have run over and handed it to Matthew Stafford or just run it.
Wasn't there a Cooper rush on the Rams at one time?
Cowboys.
You're right. Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I was really worried, but obviously you got to figure it out.
He did.
Did you see the no look pass from Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp on that last drive?
No.
Oh my God, it's so sick.
A total no look.
The biggest play of the drive, the big long.
Yep.
I guess it's like
where he went on top of the linebackers.
Yep. Well, there's a stick route underneath.
Yep.
And that's what Matthew Stafford is looking at. So he freezes everyone, and you see, and he gets it through like a window this big.
Yep.
If he's looking at Cooper Kupp, he gives that defender a chance to move over and take away that window. He's staring down the stick.
Wow.
Slings it to the slant. It's like, oh my God.
Their chemistry is that good.
So it's he's the original no look pass guy, but he never gets the credit for it.
He's also fantastic at going through all of his reads.
Oh yeah. He's awesome.
Man, next one from Squeaky Bum Time. Aaron Rodgers looked like a used car salesman in Texas. Drop a 10-gallon hat on his head, and I can absolutely see him slapping the back of a car while talking about trunk space.
As he slaps it, the bumper falls off.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty apt. I think that's a right comparison.
Yeah, he looks definitely like he's going to scam you in one way or another.
Yeah. Is he trying to scam the Packers right now?
I don't know. I mean, 50 mil, is that what he's going to get?
Yeah, 2 years, 45 mil a year.
It's hard to say no to that.
Man, it would be. You get your private jet.
It's Roger Goodell money.
It seriously is. You get your private jet and you just fly in and out of Green Bay, so you don't even have to live there.
He doesn't. I don't think he's lived there long enough where it's not that bad to live 2 more years.
Then that's what you do. You do 2 more years and
should the
peace out.
Broncos try to beat that offer?
Absolutely. You pay him anything. Broncos
I
have
guess
what?
It's not
60 mil in cap space?
necessarily the way it would work. Like, you'd have to trade for him.
Right.
But you could, through some back channels, say, hey, if you force your way out to here, we'll give you $55 million a year.
Yep. And we'll hook you up with some car dealerships to pay even more.
John did it.
Exactly.
From the Sobey brothers, Von Miller appreciation post. If Von Miller has another couple of playoff runs in him before he hangs it up, he'll become arguably the greatest postseason defensive player in NFL history. 6 more playoff sacks to be tied first all time in that. 3 more forced fumbles to be tied first in that category. He's already tied first with most career Super Bowl sacks and forced fumbles. Big players make big plays in big moments in big games. He is a GOAT.
He is. And that's the argument, is not only what he's done in the regular season, but that he's one of the best postseason players of all time.
Yeah, and it's tough to think about, but the Broncos probably robbed him of being able to get that that title next to his name by wasting 5 years of his prime with no opportunities to add on to those numbers.
The only team that's missed the playoffs 4 straight years after winning a Super Bowl. Now it's 5.
Yep.
No, now it's 6.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, the years are piling up quick.
They are piling up, and it's just a bummer. Like, if you just snuck into the wild card a couple times and lost, but Vaughn got 1 or 2 sacks in those, then he's much closer to these numbers.
Yep.
Now he's got to do it all in the back half of his career. It's
Okay, I'm buying it more. The more of a lock for Hall of Fame.
There we go.
I'm buying it more. Dan Burke says, hey guys, so something that flies under the radar amongst
For first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yes, first ballot, exactly. Dan Burke says, something that flies under the radar amongst the fan base was the fact the Broncos brought in Sam Hinkie to give analytical advice during the 2018 season. If y'all can remember, Hinkie was the GM of the Sixers during their rebuild and was the guy behind trusting the process. Do y'all have any insight on what impact he had on the team? The Broncos didn't ever enter a rebuild or anything close to it, so they never really became more analytically inclined. So what exactly was the outcome of him consulting with them?
I have no idea.
Yeah, a failure.
Maybe Joe Ellis brought him in to convince John Elway that tanking is a good thing, and John Elway just wasn't having it.
Yeah, he's like, nah.
He's like, yeah, sick job getting Nerlens Noel.
right. How'd that turn out for you, bud?
Ben Simmons is looking great.
Good. Did you think he gave him a good for you, bud?
Good for you, bud. Yeah, I mean, obviously they hit on Joel Embiid, and that's working out really well for them. But
No championships.
they had to lose a lot.
They did.
Just to land them. I think they hit on one. I mean, they hit on Ben Simmons, but then screwed it up, kind of.
Yep, they certainly did.
We'll see what happens with Harden.
Yeah, seriously.
My only hope is that it hurts Joel Embiid's MVP campaign because
He takes it
I
away.
have a lot staked on
Yeah, I
Jokic
like
to
it.
win
I
that.
like it.
Take some usage away, From Melbourne Bronco. Hey guys, great Super Bowl, but surely the Bengals should have let the Rams score earlier to get more time to tie it up. Also, do you think George Payton might place a call to Tom Brady?
He should. I don't think Tom's coming here. I don't think Tom's retired though. I think Tom's coming back, and it may be not with the Bucks. I think if it's not with the Bucks, San Francisco. How about a little Tom Brady, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo drama?
No. Just go away.
He's not going away.
Just go away.
His retirement lasted less than 2 weeks of fully being retired.
What are we
He's
doing?
not going away.
This is what I mean, man. It's the NBA thing again.
It absolutely. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are having a competition this offseason to see who can get more drama and headlines. Exactly.
Should the Bengals have let the Rams score earlier to get more time? No, time wasn't a problem.
It wasn't.
Not being able to convert 2nd and 1 was a problem. Or was it Third and one.
Yeah, and
so third and one, fourth and one.
And for also with that, the Rams couldn't run the ball. And you were thinking maybe the field's just going to be so tight that they're not going to be able to pass the ball, and they just couldn't run the ball. Having money on the Rams, I was concerned there that exactly that Seattle Seahawks situation was going to happen. When they had to pass the ball, it was just going to be too tight of a window.
Yep. And Eli Apple getting cooked. I'm sure Jerry. I instantly went to Jerry Judy's timeline. Jerry's, he's gone dark. He hasn't tweeted in a while. He did his last activity on Twitter, as far as I checked last night, was him liking the Denver Broncos post that Justin Outen would be the offensive coordinator.
Okay, we like that.
Yeah, we do like that.
Justin's in on Outen.
Yeah, I was thinking he's going to let him run a lot of out and in routes.
Oh, I like that. Impressive. Sir James says, it's officially the offseason now, and before we get into the quarterback questions, what this team will look like next season, we need to answer the really important questions first. One, who are currently under contract to make the team, or to the team, not pending free agents, is on board for the annual pilgrimage to the rocketing of the sun?
It's a long way of saying it. Who on the team right now is ready to go to the sun?
Yeah, that's under contract. So you have to out someone that's under contract. Who are you
seems
putting
like a fool.
in
It seems like
to the
something
sun?
I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, it probably is.
I don't really think there's anyone who needs to be I'm fine with the quarterbacks going to the sun.
There we go. The quarterbacks. 2, if there is no one safe for a potential top quarterback trade, does this team have any lifeboat boys?
Well, yeah, Pat Surtain. He's actually, the whole lifeboat is made out of Pat Surtain. Other guys are just sitting on top of him. That's about it, though.
I agree. 3, why is Friends highly regarded when it's such a trash show?
That's not fair to Friends.
Wow.
It might be overrated.
Oh,
but it's not trash.
Yeah, I don't really watch it enough to give it a fair rating, and so I think that I would say it's overrated, but probably not trash.
Yeah, I mean, just let people like things. I would pick some other things above it for sure. I don't regard it that highly, but I feel like it reminds, like, Seinfeld versus Friends reminds me of NBA versus NHL. Like, NBA fans and NHL, since they have to compete for, like, viewers and the playoffs and all that stuff.
Right.
They always want to make it a fight. I'm like, you guys are both amazing.
Right.
Just love each other.
That's what we have here.
Yes,
we love
exactly.
everything here. He says, happy offseason, boys and girls. Bronco Oilers says, morning, dudes. Kliss reported this morning that John Vieira has been hired as special assistant to the head coach in coaching the coaches role. I'd anticipate he's not a football guy, but rather a career educator and teacher. I'm really excited to see this emphasis on teaching and learning manifest itself so quickly, and it really plays into the new mantra of developing young talent and keeping them here. Do you think this is a little too much innovation too soon given the lack of experience on the staff, or are you on board with the influx of new ideas and strategies? Are there other franchises that have such a forward-thinking approach as far as coaching and teaching tools and technologies?
Talk about it all tomorrow. I don't want to, bury that too much right now. What I will say is that it's important to know that John Vieira is not the assistant regional manager. He's the assistant to the regional manager. Coaching the coaches.
Yeah.
The coaches coach.
Yeah.
Coach.
Coach, you know what I hate to say it, but right off the top of my head, when I think of this, it reminds me of a comment someone brought up earlier when talking about the 76ers guy. When the Broncos brought in
Consultant. Sam Hinkie.
Yeah, and it was just like, wow, great. You get this analyticals guy, and wow, great. You get the coaches of the coaches in. And then in 3 years, we're like, who?
Well,
he did
I
what?
totally forgot that.
Oh, that coaching
happened
staff
with
fell
Sam
apart, so it's all his. Yeah, okay, bad.
Yeah, we'll talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating the way that they're going about this.
It is. It really is.
And I'll say this part right now. It fascinates me that George Payton liked this plan.
I like that. Can't wait to hear
we'll
more.
talk more. Peyton Manning, YT, my boys. An unrelated and weird question today. Come draft day, since DraftKings has player pick odds, could George Payton not just place a couple racks on who they will draft when they go on the clock? I think there's a rule against NFL execs betting on the NFL, but I wasn't sure. What say you? Thanks and keep up the great work. Well,
This is insider trading, isn't it?
definitely. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely get in trouble for this stuff. George Payton could just tell an old high school friend, hey,
Yeah.
here's what we're taking, you know.
Yep.
But he wouldn't know. And the odds usually go off the board once the draft starts.
Right.
So he can tell him, hey, if he's here, we're taking him. But this sort of stuff happens all the time. Like, you know, I always thought, like, why wouldn't the person who's singing the national anthem
Go over
let
or
him-
under.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing is these very niche markets will only let you put a certain amount on them. So it's not like you can put $1 million, because I always thought that whoever is singing the national anthem should tell their friends, put $1 million on the over. I'm going over no matter what.
Yeah.
And you know, everyone gets rich off it. Probably the most they'll ever let you put is like 10 grand.
Okay. Well, give your friends 10 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, though, and especially with George Payton, when we're talking about that much money, that's a ton of money to me. But that's nothing to these guys.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, places like DraftKings, they don't offer the Gatorade anymore. The color of the Gatorade bet.
Why so?
It's too easy for someone to give the scoop. You know, let's say you have a friend who
Especially
plays
a
on the
trainer
team
or something.
or a trainer, anything. They just say, like, yeah, all of our Gatorade is orange.
I think that was up there even just last year.
Yeah, I think it just became, and I think there was a whole thing about a guy who tried to bet like $50,000 on it, and they rejected the bet.
Wow, makes sense. Yep. Interesting. And last one coming in from Howler Bro Surf. Does Aaron Donald and Shailene Woodley's report breakup change the likelihood, or Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry.
Aaron Rodgers and Shailene Woodley are
Thank
reported
you.
to have broken up.
There's rumors swirling out there, and he says on her Instagram their pictures together are deleted.
Oh, no.
He says, does that change the likelihood of Denver as a landing spot? Pittsburgh and Miami make a ton of sense for me, or for him to join, and I say this not wanting Denver to get him, just asking.
It shouldn't make too much of a difference. It should have been a football decision, but it certainly didn't hurt that his fiance was living in Boulder.
Yeah, I don't think you can ignore that.
Yeah.
If she would want to bring him back here. Now, maybe it opened his eyes enough to Denver to realize, okay, I really do like this place, but I do have to say it hurts a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help.
Right.
You definitely can't make that case, and you can definitely make the case that it hurts. Maybe it makes him a little less weird. Could that help?
Not quite sure if that'll do it.
I mean, he definitely got weirder
That's
once
very
they
true.
started dating.
You're right. We'll see if he's not hanging out in Hawaii anymore and like doing all the tropical things he was doing.
Yeah, tropical, exotic things. All right, yeah, I don't. No one knows with Aaron Rodgers. Like,
No.
he's such a wild card that it's so hard to picture try and predict what he's gonna do. I mean, I would absolutely hate it if he went to the Steelers. I'll tell you that.
Ugh, yep. Just talk about making the NFC that much easier and the AFC that much harder, and not coming to the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, you get Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady out of the NFC in the same year. It's crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
it would be.
I guess Tom could be coming back to the NFC, just on the other side of the country.
That's true. You'd have your guy Kyler looking a lot better.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yep.
it just keeps getting easier and easier over there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can the Broncos apply for a change to the NFC?
And maybe they'd be able to get it done with Drew Lock then.
I mean, I feel like anyone can get it done in the NFC now.
It seems like it.
All right, before we get out of here, one final shout out to our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver Online, msudenver.edu/online, where you can scope out all they have to offer. And they have so much to offer, including 750 total classes, 45 plus online and hybrid programs. Go over there, check out, the type of education that you want. See if you can further your education at MSU Denver. And if you do, you'll have a great chance to keep a full-time job while you do so, because MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other Colorado institution. But for Zach, I'm RK. That's going to wrap it up for us today. Appreciate you guys. Hit us with a thumbs up on your way out. Also, we love those reviews on iTunes. Appreciate everyone who's doing that. And we'll catch you tomorrow.